not improve. Let's now get back to our coverage of the military's response to Sokoto, the airstrike in Sokoto State. I'm joined by Dr. Kabir Adamu, who is CEO of Beacon Consulting Limited. Dr. Adamu, thank you for joining us on the news tonight. What do you understand by secondary explosion, which the military claims caused hoarded munitions to explode in different areas, resulting to the death of 10 people?
And thank you, and compliments of the season. Secondary explosions are explosions that occur after the primary explosion has gone off. So in this instance, the military probably used some form of explosive device to target a particular building. And from what the briefing we got from the defense headquarters, it appears that the person that was targeted was a logistics supplier to the Lakra group. In other words, he was someone who put together materials that are used in making improvised explosive devices. And so it meant that there were some form of explosive devices in the location. So once that primary bomb that was used to target the building had gone off, those other explosives that were there now went off, and those are the secondary explosions.
So this hoarded munition belonged to the terrorists, right?
That is going by the statement by the defense headquarters.
You don't think it's an intelligence lacuna on the part of the military?
Well, remember that this statement is coming after a few days, hours of the major incident which have happened on Christmas
And the
Day.
initial statement from the JTF was an absolute denial.
Exactly. So, I mean, there is a little bit of lack of clarity. And as an expert, the question that came to my mind, if you have credible intelligence like you told us you had, and then you now decided to use a weapon that you know can trigger secondary explosives, knowing very well that there are civilian population there, why did you go ahead with that operation? How relevant is that target? If the target is of such relevance that you need to take him out, why haven't you put out a statement to show us who that target is? That's what democratic countries do. I can understand that in certain circumstances, you can take that decision. If you know that the target would prepare bombs that will go and kill, let's say, 100 people, and then you now have him cornered in a particular location, and you know that killing him will result in the death of 10 people. Well, it's a decision. You've saved 100 lives by killing 10 lives, as it were. But you need to be transparent. You need to show to the people that that's probably what happened. In this instance, we're not getting that kind of information. Till date, we don't even know who the target is. All we are told is that it's a logistics supplier for the Lakra group. And like we discussed, it's coming almost 48 hours after the incident occurred.
Dr. Adamu, we keep spending the largest share of our annual spending plan on defense. It's the same for the 2025 budget. Some stakeholders are saying we're not even spending enough. But considering that this is happening about a year after the explosion, the aero bombing in Tudumbiri, is it a function of not having enough to help precision attacks, or we're not managing what we have adequately?
It's a combination of several factors. And I mean, top of them all is the question of intelligence. We use this word loosely in Nigeria. Intelligence is an advanced process, as it were, that is well documented and that has stages. So if, for instance, we have intelligence that says there is a high-value target in a particular location, at what time did we receive that intelligence? Did we update it before we carried out that attack? So that's number one. Number two is, how did we collect that intelligence? Did we attempt to corroborate that intelligence? I've heard statements from the defense headquarters suggesting that the intelligence was collected using technical devices, and then there was an attempt to use human capabilities to verify the intelligence that was collected. All of this is good. But then how about the coordinates? We don't know the delivery component. Was it a drone? Was it a fighter jet? or what? If it was, what coordinate did it use? What is the efficacy of that coordinate? When was that map developed? At what point was that map updated to confirm the veracity of the coordinates on that map? And then what of the human factor? The boat, again, we don't know the delivery mode. If it was, a drone or perhaps a fighter jet, the persons who operated that, what mood were they in? What factors, influenced the decision, for instance? And then the authorizing officer, what circumstance, did he authorize that delivery? So all of these are...
It appears we have more questions than answers. I'm told we have to go now, but seeing the impact that human rights issues of this nature, see how human rights issues of this nature impact on support from international partners, do you think the military should take responsibility for this? In 30 seconds, if you can.
I want to use the 30 seconds and say, forget international partners. Let's come back to the people on ground. That's what we need to win this war. So our statements going forward should be targeted at winning the hearts and minds of the people. Yes, our international partners are important, but they are not as important as the people on the ground. So we should be very mindful of the statements that we put out. If we don't win them, the enemy will win them. There are three parts to this war. The bad guys, the good guys, us, and then the audience. That's the people on ground. We need to win them. If we don't win them, the bad guys will win them.
Security expert Dr. Kabir Adamu, CEO Beacon Consulting Limited. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's turn to other stories now. The federal government says it will launch the Labor Employment and Empowerment Program in January 2025.